It's a Monday and it's good to see you. Thanks for joining me on the Midday Brief. My name is Kimini Nyamani. I'm on top of the news this afternoon. Today is World Toilets Day, and we'll find out what some residents of Accra go through to access the facility. Tomorrow is the final day of the two presidential debates by the IA. What will change? What should we expect? And who will not show up? We'll find out. Now, Dr. Mensah Otabil speaks again. This time, he says, don't trade your vote for something else. Stay with me for details of these stories and many more. Now, on Friday night, an MMT bus and a Benz bus collided in the northern region and over 30 people were killed. Some of the victims later died at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Now, let's go over to the telephone line where my colleague, Northern Regional Correspondent Mohammed Hashmin, is on standby to give us an update on what's been going on as far as the accident is concerned. Hello, Hashmin.
Hello.
What's the latest?
Well, Northern Regional Minister Moses Bukari Mabenga has made a cash donation of 10,000 Ghana cedis to officials of the Tamale Teaching Hospital on behalf of government. According to the Northern Regional Minister, the donation is to help the Tamale Teaching Hospital take care of use it to take care of the medical bills of the victims of last Friday's Tamale road accident in which 31 people lost their lives.
Right. I then am to assume that no more deaths were recorded. Tell us about survivors.
Well, no more deaths has been recorded. The death rate still remains at 31. But a short while ago, I spoke to the Chief Executive Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, Dr. Ken Sego, and the information he gave to me is that the relatives of the deceased have so far identified 29 bodies, and the hospital has handed over the deceased to them for burial.
Right, and survivors, have some been treated and discharged? What really is the condition with survivors?
Who were in the intensive care unit, no one has been discharged yet, but according to him, they are still monitoring their situation, and they hope that they will be able to rehabilitate them.
Has the MMT come out to comment on this in the northern region?
Come again.
Has the MMT officials come out to comment on this accident?
Well, in some minutes, we will be talking to them about their position with regards to the accident.
Right.
What I can only say for now is that the main challenge of the MTTU in Northern region has always been the interference of opinion leaders whenever they arrest perpetrators of traffic, whenever they arrest traffic offenders.
Right. Thank you very much. Mohammed Hashmin is our Northern Regional Correspondent. He's been giving us an update on a last Friday night's accident in the region. Now, we'll bring you updates, or we'll bring you the reaction from the MMT. We'll do all we can to raise them on the telephone. In the meantime, there are certain calls that need to be answered promptly. Now, failure to do so may result and some sort of chaos. For many who live in a home with all facilities intact, you may not know what it takes for another person without such facilities as a toilet to rush from home to answer nature's call. Well, here's a report by Gifty Ando-Apia cataloging what a resident who lives in a home without toilet facilities goes through on a daily basis.
I'm here at an over 30-year-old public toilet, which is most preferred because it is government-owned and highly subsidized. The heat inside is intense, the smell absolutely engulfing. And this is one of many public toilets here in Nema and in other parts of Accra. Earlier, the mayor of Accra has mentioned a phasing out of public toilet, but that is yet to be realized. Interestingly, though, none of the political parties in their manifestos have discussed vigorously the issue of public toilets. There are 12 rooms in this house located in Nema, a suburb of Accra. Over 60 people live here. The latest addition is 3 weeks old. The amount of food prepared here every day paints no faint picture of the end product, but there is no place of convenience when metabolism ends. With 5 grandchildren now, Auntie Essie has lived here for 20 years. There used to be a toilet facility here, but for the past 15 years, we've had to make do with the public toilets because our number keeps increasing, and that's put a lot of pressure on the facility. I cannot debunk the use of public toilets because when we had one here, it was always full, and cesspit workers were very inconsistent. The house was always unkempt and smelly, so we all decided to patronize the public toilets. It's about 5:30 a.m. Whilst preparing her grandchildren for school, nature calls and she responds accordingly. The public toilet close to her house charges 30 pesos, but the government-owned public toilet is about 450 meters away from home. Here, she pays only 5 pesos for a piece of used newspaper and a place to ease herself. The relatively clean atmosphere on the outside of this toilet is no match of what is found inside, where Auntie Essie and her counterparts contend with the immense heat concentrated from years and piles of feces. Splattered human excreta is a common feature in 10 open cubicles, the state of which easily facilitates spread of diseases. After more than 30 years, it is obvious the structure is very weak. Auntie Essie is lucky today. There was no queue here, but if there is, she appeals with her age to be given priority. Besides, she has difficulties marching to the toilet in response to nature's call. The distance between my house and the toilet is wide. We will accept and endorse any government which will collaborate with the landlords in this area to provide toilet facilities in our homes. It will be of an immense help to us. Landlords are yet to be bound by law to provide toilets, so for now, more public toilets are being built. Ibrahim is an attendant.
I've been working here since 2003. 2003, that time, people have been coming here, but this time, people are reducing because people have been opening places and toilets from their areas. That's why people have reduced from here, coming here.
Recently, one such toilet at Kaswa in the central region caved in, killing 1 and injuring 4 others. One of many incidents reflecting the current state of public toilets in Ghana. Patrons like Auntie Essie have no other alternative.
Also, as we mark World Toilets Day today, we hope landlords and ladies would fix some toilets in their homes, and hopefully the AMA will be up in arms in enforcing their bylaws they instituted some time ago on toilets in homes. Let's move on with the news. The presidential candidate of the People's National Convention, Hassan Ayariga, says he cannot participate in Tuesday's IEA presidential debate. Now, speaking on Joy FM's Super Morning Show earlier today, Hassan Ayariga, amid coughs, said he had prepared very well for the debate, but cannot take part because he is suffering from malaria. Now, joining us on the line is Dr. Clement Owusu, convener for the Forum for Governance and Justice. I hope I got it right this time. Hello, sir.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on your program.
But are you surprised the PNC presidential candidate is not participating in tomorrow's IEA debate?
Well, the word surprise is a bit too strong because if the reason he has given is one that can be verified, I don't think that he should be compelled to participate in a debate when he does not feel that he's in good health to do so.
But really, how do you think his absence could affect the debate?
Well, I think there are two levels that we can see his absence affecting the debate. Quite clearly, it would change the dynamics because rather than 4 candidates, we will have 3 candidates. And perhaps some submissions and rebuttals that he may have proposed or professed could change the dynamics of the debate. So on that score, clearly his absence is going to have an impact on the dynamics of the debate. But for all intents and purposes, everyone agrees that this is a contest between the current president, John Dramani Mahama, and Akufo-Addo of the MPP. So the debate has also been that in as much as you have the 2 main contenders on stage, then that should not reduce the value of the debate because people are going to be largely focused on the performance of the 2 top candidates in this year's election.
Now, what new things are you looking out for in tomorrow's debate?
Well, some of us have felt that there were very important topics which were not discussed.
Right.
You are well aware of my anti-corruption crusade, particularly as it pertains to corruption in the justice delivery system. And I think that I would hope that at least there will be some questions around what each candidate is going to do to reduce corruption in the judiciary and also to embolden the justice delivery system by providing the proper resources to ensure that that system then is able to hold all of us accountable, both private citizens and public officials.
Right. I have had people raise concern about the audience, the people who go there to listen to the debate. Now, people have complained these may not be undecided voters. Is that a problem?
Well, to some extent, yes, because most of those who get invitations to go to the IAE debate happen to be from the major political parties or are people who are public figures and former office holders themselves. But the point is not that the debaters are seeking to get the approval of those present in the debating hall. They are going to tailor their arguments, as they are well aware, to the listening public. So, yes, it may be the case that those present may not be influenced, but whether or not they perform well would be something that the people who are not committed would use as a basis to firm their opinions and to make decisions come December 7, 2012.
Dr. Clement Owusu, do you feel Hassan Ayariga may be shying away from the debates? Because not only has he given reason of malaria, he's also given reason of mourning the late Vice President Alhaji Aliyu Mahama. It seems as though he's shying away from the debates. Do you share same sentiments?
Well, I would not be fair to him to profess any reason other than the reasons that he has expressed publicly. But he deals within the context of a political party, and if indeed the reasons he is giving for his lack of participation in tomorrow's debate cannot be justified, I am very sure that some of his own party members would expose him. So for now, for the benefit of the doubt, I think we should give him that right to say that he is not able to participate due to ill health. But if any other evidence comes to the fore, then quite clearly he would have deemed to have acted in a dishonest manner, which certainly would be something that the voters will have to consider when they go to the polls on December 7th.
Right. Thank you very much. Dr. Clement Owusu is convener for the Forum for Governance and Justice. Moving on, Dr. Pakwesi Indum also shared his thoughts on what might have contributed to the PNC presidential candidate's withdrawal from tomorrow's debate.
He got into the race willingly, voluntarily. What he chooses to do, what he decides to do or not to do, that's up to him. I would have preferred that all of us would have been part of one debate. For all of us, all 8 presidential candidates. I know there are stresses on the road, which is why we wrote officially to the police to ask for police protection and help as part of our team along the way, which so far they had refused to give us that kind of protection on the road. They had just said, go wherever you go, they will cooperate. And they've been cooperating on the road, but we travel most of the time and we are left, wide open without any help, any security whatsoever. And right now, the time is gone. Okay, so I can't blame him. I think that it's up to him to decide for himself what he wants to do.
Now, the Progressive People's Party's presidential candidate, Dr. Kwesi Indom, has still not forgiven the IEA for excluding parties with no representation in Parliament from the presidential debate.
Assuming they ask you to take part in this IEA encounter representing the PPP?
Absolutely not. We are against the criteria. We are against the reasoning for excluding other political parties. It doesn't help with multi-party democracy and its development. No, I wouldn't. Even if next time around, if I'm contesting and they just cut some people out and I qualify or my party qualifies, I wouldn't participate. If there are 8 contestants must participate. That's why we like the GBC and what it's doing, because they invited everybody, all 8. It is just that those who went to the IEA decided not to come. And for me, if you are president of the nation and you have a state-sponsored platform and you refuse to go on that one and rather go to a private thing, then there's something wrong.
Now, since the demise of Professor John Evans Atta Mills, the health of whoever becomes president of the country has been topical this electioneering period. Now, the head of public health unit at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Philip Amu, has declared the PPP's presidential candidate, Dr. Kwesi Indom, physically and mentally sound, though his sight and cholesterol level did not work in his favor, and has since been recommended to seek medical attention within 6 months.
After various laboratory tests and going through special medical examinations and other checks on his well-being and vitality, 2 reports emerged. The technical information report, which is kept at the hospital for clinical history purposes, and the sensitized report, which was handed him by Dr. Philip K. Amu. Dr. Philip Amu of the Public Health Unit commended Dr. Indom for this move, especially as he seeks to occupy the highest office of the land.
It is important for us to all cultivate this habit of undergoing regular health checks. It enables us to pick anything wrong. We've been advocating this approach all the time for people to voluntarily have their medicals, at least annually. And for what you have done, we say we thank you. And the good Lord bless you. And may you bring this visionary approach to your leadership of our dear country.
Dr. Indom, who also tested HIV negative, said his move is not a bold one, but rather necessary.
And as I keep saying, those of us who want to lead, we must do any and everything possible for us to lead by example, okay, to lead from the front. When you know what is wrong with you, then you have the opportunity for it to be taken care of. That's the important point. It isn't that I'll be 100% fit. It is that if anything is even on the way coming, then I know. I take precautionary measures, you take preventive measures. For me, that is what is important. It's not because you see, when you become president, the state takes care of you until you die. The state feeds you, it clothes you, it gives you a car, your medical attention, your housing, everything is taken care of. That's why they say you can't work for profit after you become president. So if you're going to be there, then you should go there as fit as you can be.
The cholesterol problem is not anything new to the family of Dr. Kwesi Indom. He said he's going to go through the appropriate checks right after December polls. He said he will also make available details of his tax returns for the public soon.
Now, the General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Pastor Clement Owusu, has cautioned voters to be mindful of the candidates they vote for in the December 7 polls, stating that when voters vote, they eventually put their sovereignty into the hands of the one they voted for. He was preaching on the sermon titled Your Vote yesterday at the Christ Temple of the International Central Gospel Church. Now, here are some excerpts from the sermon.
Now, as Christians, in our relationship with God, we live under a theocracy because we are seeking to do the will of God. The will of God is what rules for the Christian. But at the same time, in our world, we live in a democracy. And in a democracy, the will of the people rules. And in a democracy, all eligible citizens have equal say in how their nation is governed. This always creates a conflict for the Christian. How do we do the will of God and the will of the people at the same time? So when we draw direct references between biblical Israel and Ghana, for example, we are going to have serious biblical challenges. Because Israel was a covenanted nation. Israel did not elect kings. The kings were ordained by God. The kings were called by God. The kings were released by God. In Ghana, kings are not ordained by God. Well, not kings. Political leaders are not ordained by God. Political leaders are elected. So a Ghanaian elected president or American elected president or British elected prime minister is not equal to a person ordained by God. In an election, when we vote and somebody is elected, it is the people who have made a choice, not God. The people. But God says the leader of the people is recognized because God is a God of order. And so whatever the people elect, God will recognize. Why should I vote on the 7th of December? Why did the Americans vote on the 6th of November? Why did the Chinese vote recently? Although they didn't allow everybody to vote, they voted within an electoral college. That's also a kind of voting. Why did they vote for a new leader? Why do people vote? What's the reason? The reason why you and I must vote is because of a very interesting word. And that word is sovereignty. You have to fully consider all the proposals on offer. Go beyond party names. Go beyond party adverts. Go beyond party slogans. Consider what each party has proposed. What have they put on the table? Fully consider it. Go beyond slogans. And how do you know what a person has proposed? In Ghana, they have a manifesto, although I don't really believe in the party manifestos because they write things, get a committee to write it. The way to find what the proposal is what the candidates speak about constantly. Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Benefits. You cannot exchange your vote for T-shirts and little monies here and there and a piece of cloth and a goat and a chicken. Your sovereignty is far more expensive than chicken. Do you know why people will pay chicken for your vote? Because they know you don't value it and they want to buy it cheap from you. A nation becomes what its citizens vote for. Sometimes we pray, we say, let's pray for the nation, that God will bless the nation. No, we have to pray that the citizens will make intelligent choices. Because if the citizens don't make intelligent choices, God is not going to come and rule Ghana for us.
You're still watching the midday brief here on Joy News on your multi-TV. Now, former President Terry John Rawlings has expressed hope that the death of the late former Vice President Alhaji Aliyu Muhammad will clear the climate that will make it possible for justice to prevail in the murder of the late Dagbon overlord Iyana Yakubu Andani II. He says, I hope that his departure will make it possible for the justice that was neglected on the Yana's murder. Mobila and a few others will finally probably see something more fruitful that will bring joy to our hearts. He was speaking to the media after the funeral ceremony of the late Aliyu Muhammad at the Independence Square. Now, also, the founder of the National Democratic Congress expressed disappointment at the manner in which the matter had been handled, saying, I had expected it to be more forceful in demanding that the proper thing was done, because I am aware of many instances, civilians and soldiers who had all gone to write up what they knew, and their writing and their evidences were all rejected by that commission. He goes on to say, if he couldn't do it in his life, I am hoping that in his death, if there are any other more positive influences over there, they will urge him to push for a more collaborative and more constructive approach towards the issue of justice. The former leader stressed the need for justice because, according to him, it was fundamental to the stability of the country. In Business Brief this afternoon, Microsoft President Stephen Sky is leaving Microsoft effective immediately, just days after launching his baby's Windows 8 and the Microsoft Surface. The new head of Windows is Julie Larson-Green. Microsoft is saying Sky's departure was mutually agreed upon. Sky is leaving to pursue other unspecified interests.
In the shake-up yesterday, Microsoft said Larson-Green will be promoted to lead all Windows software and hardware engineering. Tammy Rella will continue on as Chief Financial Officer and Chief Marketing Officer, and will assume responsibility for the business of Windows. Both executives will report directly to Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer, according to Microsoft's press release. Julie Larson-Green has been Corporate Vice President, Program Management, Windows Client. Larson-Green is no stranger to Windows. She has had between 1,200 and 1,400 program managers, researchers, content managers, and other members of the Windows team reporting to her. In March 2010, Larson-Green was in charge of Windows planning. Her colleagues, John Devan and Grant George, led Windows development and test, respectively. Microsoft discovered Larson-Green after a few softies attended a talk she gave comparing Microsoft compilers to Borland compilers, and asked her to run a Visual C++ focus group for the company.
Now, diabetes is perceived as a disease for older people, but recent reports indicate that juvenile diabetes is on the increase.
Diabetes is a chronic and devastating global public health threat that currently affects 366 million people. Persons with the condition have high blood sugar levels because their bodies cannot process it into fat to be stored for energy. This occurs because either the pancreas cannot make enough insulin or cells are unable to respond to insulin normally, or both. People suffering from diabetes are also said to experience a multiplicity of medical conditions, including cardiovascular impairment, physical disability, and in severe cases, death. Even though there is inadequate research findings on the specific causes of the disease, pointers including lifestyle, unbalanced diet, obesity, lack of physical exercise, among others, constitute some of the predisposing factors to developing diabetes. In Ghana, the prevalent type is the type 2 diabetes, but currently the rate of the type 1 diabetes is alarming as more children, teens and young adults are now being diagnosed of it.
We have the children also having type 1 diabetes. And I'm saying it's important because I'm taking care of a family of 4 and 2 of the children. 4 children, family of 4 children, and 2 of the children have type 1 diabetes. So you just imagine, even though we say the prevalence among the general population is 5% of the whole diabetes population, if you have 3 children and 2 of them have diabetes, it is like it's 100% to you. And because of this, it's important. We are not diagnosing them.
As efforts are being made to reverse the current trend and improve the awareness of diabetes as the world celebrates Diabetes Day, there are also a number of challenges faced by people living with the condition. A significant number of diabetic patients lack access to proper treatment and medicines.
We've not got more diabetes centers. Apart from that, too, glucometers are expensive. The strips are very expensive because they pay import duties on them. Insulin, for instance, most of the time there is shortage. The health insurance can't afford them. If we can come to a consensus where they can include most of our insulin and things on the health insurance. If even they give the insulin, the syringe and the lancets, which the person uses every day, is not included in the health insurance.
November is Diabetes Awareness Month to create awareness, educate, save and improve the lives of millions of people. This year's celebration is under the theme, Protect the Youth, Our Future. As a result, the youth and the public in general have been advised to adapt healthy lifestyles to prevent diabetes.
Time now for some showbiz.
The bubbly Nigerian actor who says he's in Ghana to promote his new movie In the Cupboard also revealed that his favorite scriptwriter was Ghana's daughter Lydia Forson. Desmond also spoke about the fact that most of Ghana's filmmakers find themselves in Nigeria because it is like a second home to them and the money is also good. Desmond Elliott is the producer and director of his new movie In the Cupboard. For many patrons of the MTN Foresight Music Video Awards 2012, they got introduced to the name Natural Face for the first time when he was sweeping off his awards. They didn't seem to have much of a choice as they also had to acknowledge him as artist with the overall best video for the year. With his song and video for So High, he won Best Directed Video, Best Photography, Best Discovery Video and overall Best Video, representing 4 out of the 5 categories he was nominated in. It was obvious the patrons could not stand this stunning revelation as they walked out of the auditorium. Another surprise pulled up at the event was the Best African Act Video Award, which went to an artist whose name was not on the nominees list, Two-Face Idibia. Kofi Middleton-Mans, a veteran actor, filmmaker and trainer, was honored with Living Legend Award, and Becca had the Best Female Video with her No Away track. Best Highlight Video went to Ochiame Kwame with his Sika track. The night also saw Manifest pick Best Hip Hop Video with Maka Maka, EL Most Popular Video with Kalu, and Sarkodie picked the Best Hip Life Video with Sa Okodieno featuring Obrafo, even though he missed out at the Channel O Awards. A minute's silence was observed for the late Vice President Alhaji Aliu Mahama. Ketches Aluguntigui video had a cool chalk with Best Choreography Video Award.
Okay, let's go. Watch this.
That's it for the brief today. But should presidential candidates make known their health status? Join Araba Kumsin as she brings you your election headquarters. She delves into the matter. That's it from me. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano.